Welcome back, traders, here for another video. In today's video, I'm going to go over Bookmap at its very basic level. But before I do that, I have a free Discord where I'm giving away a ton of educational value. The link is in the description below. There is a free 15-page PDF there if you want to pick it up. It goes over my strategy. It talks about stacked imbalances, and it talks about order flow there. You can grab that anytime you like. That said, let's get on with the video now. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say here is financial advice. Trading is risky. Most traders lose all their capital they trade with. I'm sharing this for educational purposes only. All right, here's how I use Bookmap. And for me, this is extremely powerful. I wanted to do this video tonight because there's a very specific thing happening right now in the markets that I wanted to point out that I don't think a lot of traders can easily identify. So you're going to want to pay close attention here. All right, quick overview. Again, this is not the video to get into all the details of Bookmap. This is just a very basic overview. And it looks confusing, I know, because it was for me when I first opened up Bookmap and started looking at all these different areas on the chart here. So right out the gate, if you do decide to use Bookmap, you're going to need a data feed. You can use a prop firm data feed if you want, Rhythmic, or you can buy one here, DX feed, whatever the case may be. All right. Real quick here on Bookmap, on the right-hand side is the DOM, and you'll see these different numbers here. This represents the number of contracts sitting on the books or resting orders, limit orders, okay? The DOM doesn't show all of them. So for example, if you're looking at right here, 6, 12, 14, all right, this is just what's on the surface in the DOM. So if you picture an iceberg where you can only see the top of the iceberg, all right, you can't see way down here below what's below the iceberg, and that's done on purpose here. So the other thing you can't see here are market orders. It's just going to show you strictly limit orders. These bubbles here, they represent volume, all right, number of contracts being traded at this level here. So for example, the red bubbles indicate large sell volume, and the green bubbles where the large ones represent large buy volume. All right, let me talk about what's happening here on Bookmap. So this is a great tool to look at big money and to get a sense of where big money is trying to push the market to. And I do that by looking at specific things here in the market that are happening, and I'm able to identify those. So I want you to draw your attention to these red areas up here. And when you look at these here, you'll notice that, for example, this one comes over and then it gets cut off immediately. Over here, this one to the far left, red, and it gets cut off immediately. Price never actually got up into this area, and these orders were never filled. So what's happening there is big money is pulling these orders away as soon as price gets up into these areas. And they're doing that for a reason. All right. They have a different agenda. So what does that tell me? Well, back here when I saw this first order pulled, all right, these orders here were still on the books over here. When they pulled this order, I said, aha, it looks like they're trying to draw traders in to these levels up here because they have a different agenda. So as price pushed down, you can see right here a lot of sell volume right here represented by the large red dots here. All right, price couldn't go any further. So what's happening right there is sellers are being absorbed. All right, just below this here, there's a lot of hidden buy orders that the DOM necessarily isn't showing, and we can identify that once the buy volume picks up again right in this area. Sellers are absorbed. They couldn't push any further, and these resting liquidity orders are up here where big money wanted the market to go, and it came right up, and you can see they actually pulled the orders before they even got hit right here. And then eventually here, look what happens. Big buy volume, and then it can't get past this level here. And then the sell volume comes in. So maybe their agenda was to draw the orders in or draw traders into these levels here so that they can fill their sell orders or create liquidity in the market. That's the gist of this here. It doesn't always happen like this. Sometimes we'll get to this top level here and the orders will actually be filled. And then on the flip side, if price was coming down, there are cases where I will see these large orange or red bands follow price down where big money may be trying to keep price held down. So what does this mean for me as a trader when I come over to TradingView now and I look at different areas of confluence here? So pick your favorite indicator. Pick your favorite setup, whether that's fair value gaps, whether that's VWAP, it really doesn't matter. Pick your favorite confluence. In this area, this green line right here, this green line, this is where all that was going on. okay, in this area. So what this told me was as price was moving down into this area, I'm looking for some kind of confluence here to tell me and say, hey, price is price is ready to go up and bounce, and it's ready to go up and potentially get those levels on Bookmap as seen right here. All right. So come back over to trading view. And that could be a inverse fair value gap. Again, it could be VWAP. It could be trading out of a fair value gap itself. It doesn't really matter. Any other confluence here. And that's generally how I trade. Now, I do use stacked imbalances and other things here, but I'm not going to get into detail with that. But the point of this video is that just by looking at Bookmap alone, all right, it's possible to build a thesis off of looking at Bookmap, especially when we see these orders being created and then getting pulled. Okay, so now you may be asking yourself, well, what about now? So I just moved the market over forward here a bit more. And look, they took this here. Looks like they pulled some orders, and now they're placing the sell limit orders all the way up here in this area. So maybe they want to keep pushing this market higher. I'll watch this overnight to see if we actually go up and get them. So generally speaking, what I would personally be looking for in my approach in trading, I'd be looking for price to come down here and meet some other type of confluence to potentially go up there and grab that liquidity at some point in time. Whether or not that really happens, nobody really knows. But Bookmap does provide a great visual for looking at these large orders and then giving myself an overall thesis of what I may want to actually do for that day, or where I think the market may be headed from a probability standpoint here. So hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you check out Discord and grab that free PDF. We'll talk to you soon.